Now, Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. AM 630. WMAL.
7:07 on the Morning Majority. Both of the Brians are here. I'm here.
Yes?
I'm Mary Catherine. And you know who else is here?
Who?
Tony Blankley.
Oh, I like that guy.
He's an executive vice president with Edelman Public Relations and a visiting senior fellow in national security at the Heritage Foundation, author of many books. Hello, Tony.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I wanted to ask you about your column. You write about the president's foreign policy failures increasing. I wonder, national security is about the only place where his poll numbers have held up.
Yes.
He continues to have pretty good numbers in the area. Do you think that will change?
It depends. Usually American electorates do not vote on foreign policy. They vote on domestic policy, and particularly now with a terrible economy, there's a lot of domestic policy for the public to be focusing on. The danger for the president is that at this point, virtually outside of his control, if any spark breaks in virtually any part of the world, which has got measurably worse, from Russia to China, Taiwan, to Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, Pakistan is in chaos. If the public pays any attention, if something happens, that could turn into a real campaign negative, the way it did to Jimmy Carter in '79, when first the Soviets marched into Afghanistan in December. The month before, in Iran, they took our diplomats hostage, and that turned into, along with the bad economy, a real issue. I worked in the Reagan campaign in '80, and it fell into our lap and hurt him badly. That's the danger that the president faces now, that there's been such a hash made of our foreign policy that, and a lot of it laid to the White House's door. I mean, the explicit policy on Israel and settlements undercut the peace process that resulted in the embarrassment in the UN last week with Palestine. In Russia, he specifically supported Medvedev against Putin publicly, tried to play in Russian domestic politics to strengthen his man, Medvedev. Now Medvedev is going to step aside. Putin's going to be president for the next at least 2 terms constitutionally. And we've now got an unnecessary big problem in our Russian relations. And you just go around the world, and he's undercut our relations with Saudi Arabia very badly. The Saudis have been complaining. They're no longer willing to always pull our chestnuts out of the fire when we have problems. So it's a real mess waiting for the public to notice. Most
likely place for a spark to happen. I'm thinking of reports, I think just this morning, of rocks and tomatoes being thrown at the U.S. ambassador in Syria, which is not the first time that he's been under some attack.
Pakistan is probably the most likely, most dangerous spot, because now we have conspicuously said that the Pakistani government has been supporting elements of the terrorists who are going after us, and I believe that we're going to see our policy be to start intruding into Pakistan, at least from the air, and that's going to create a real incident, and that could happen starting within weeks and go on for a long time. With so much at risk there, I would say if I was looking for one place where it could really explode in our face, it would be Pakistan.
Tony, let's turn to American politics and the Republican nomination process. Why is it, do you think, that rank-and-file voters and party activists are still sort of dissatisfied with the cast of candidates that's been out there? They're always looking for somebody new. I mean, first they sort of wanted to see Rick Perry get into the race, and now it appears that his support is softening. Herman Cain now seems to be a little bit on the rise. There's a lot of talk about let's get Christie into the race. Why are they not satisfied? What is it that they don't like about the current cast of candidates?
I think that part of it is conservatives and Republicans, Tea Party and non-Tea Party, really want to beat the incumbent president next November.
Right.
And in a way, I mean, obviously both parties always want to beat the other party's incumbent president. But in a way, I've been in presidential politics since Goldwater in '64. I've never seen the electorate of either party so passionately concerned that the nation's future requires us to defeat the incumbent president of the other party. So I think that this desire to make sure we've got a candidate who we not only broadly agree with, but who has the best chance of beating him, is having the Republicans sort of cast their eye as somebody more electable out there.
But they seem to be looking for somebody who is the perfect candidate, and you and I know in the American political process, everybody's got something that you're going to disagree with in their background.
Oh, sure, and when once you announce, you always, your deficiencies become more, visibly present to the public when you're just sort of wandering around, and that's for anybody. So yeah, I think that my sense, just as I travel around the country, talk to an awful lot of Republicans and Tea Party folk, I think that they're coming to a point where they're feeling much better now than we did 3 or 4 months ago about the existing offering, and you're seeing numbers go up for Kane. You're seeing numbers go up for my old boss Newt.
Yeah,
he did very well in the Fox poll yesterday.
Yeah,
Romney remains increasingly impressive. He is sustaining. He's taking on all new challenges. They come up and then they fall back. Bachmann and now Perry. And it's beginning to look like he's got a very sturdy campaign.
As it looks right now, I mean, obviously we're a long way out from November of next year, but do you believe that it's the Republicans' race to lose?
Yes, I do. I haven't seen, and I would include Jimmy Carter in this, any incumbent president in my lifetime who is more vulnerable to being defeated. Doesn't mean he will be. A sitting president is the most formidable political force in the country, and Obama will be a huge political force. Inherently, the power of the presidency, the fundraising, the ability to make news, to change events, no challenger can ever match those things. But having said that, you see a real breakdown, not quite a cratering yet, but a real breakdown in the president's support, both in his own base, amongst Hispanics, obviously amongst Republican levels are going sky high in the opposition. He's got basically events outside his control. He probably can't fix the economy at this point.
No, not within a year. And then you throw in what you said that, and Mary Catherine pointed out, that if his poll numbers are highest in foreign policy, I mean, if that's what your best thing is.
The lower your numbers are, the harder it is for you to go negative against your opponents. If Obama was at 50%, the negative things that he's going to say about the Republicans would have more weight. When you slip down around 40, then not just for the president, for any incumbent who's unpopular, it always looks a little wild and questionable when they start making charges about their opponents. So the ability to campaign aggressively on the negative is harder at 40 than at 50% approval.
All right, Tony, it's great to have you on the show as always. We appreciate your time and your insights.
Enjoyed it.